Columbus also dispatched his brother Bartholomew to the court of Henry VII of England to inquire whether the English crown might sponsor his expedition, but he was captured by pirates en route, and only arrived in early 1491. By that time, Columbus had retreated to La Rabida Friary, where the Spanish crown sent him 20,000 maravedis to buy new clothes and instructions to return to the Spanish court for renewed discussions. Columbus waited at King Ferdinand's camp until Ferdinand and Isabella conquered Granada, the last Muslim stronghold on the Iberian Peninsula, in January 1492. A council led by Isabella's confessor, Hernando de Talavera, found Columbus's proposal to reach the Indies implausible. Columbus had left for France when Ferdinand intervened, first sending Talavera and Bishop Diego Deza to appeal to the Queen. Isabella was finally convinced by the king's clerk Luis de Santángel, who argued that Columbus would take his ideas elsewhere, and offered to help arrange the funding. Isabella then sent a royal guard to fetch Columbus, who had traveled 2 leagues, over 10 kilometers, toward Córdoba. In the April 1492 Capitulations of Santa Fe, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella promised Columbus that if he succeeded he would be given the rank of Admiral of the Ocean Sea and appointed Viceroy and Governor of all the new lands he might claim for Spain. He had the right to nominate 3 persons, from whom the sovereigns would choose one, for any office in the new lands. He would be entitled to 10% diezmo of all the revenues from the new lands in perpetuity. He also would have the option of buying 1/8 interest in any commercial venture in the new lands, and receive 1/8 ochavo of the profits. In 1500, during his 3rd voyage to the Americas, Columbus was arrested and dismissed from his posts. He and his sons, Diego and Fernando, then conducted a lengthy series of court cases against the Castilian crown, known as the Pleitos Colombinos, alleging that the crown had illegally reneged on its contractual obligations to Columbus and his heirs. The Columbus family had some success in their first litigation, as a judgment of 1511 confirmed Diego's position as viceroy but reduced his powers. Diego resumed litigation in 1512, which lasted until 1536, and further disputes initiated by heirs continued until 1790. Between 1492 and 1504, Columbus completed 4 round-trip voyages between Spain and the Americas, each voyage being sponsored by the Crown of Castile. On his first voyage he reached the Americas, initiating the European exploration and colonization of the continent, as well as the Columbian Exchange. His role in history is thus important to the Age of Discovery, Western history, and human history writ large. In Columbus's letter on the first voyage, published following his first return to Spain, he claimed that he had reached Asia, as previously described by Marco Polo and other Europeans. Over his subsequent voyages, Columbus refused to acknowledge that the lands he visited and claimed for Spain were not part of Asia, in the face of mounting evidence to the contrary. This might explain, in part, why the American continent was named after the Florentine explorer Amerigo Vespucci, who received credit for recognizing it as a «New World», and not after Columbus. On the evening of 3 August 1492, Columbus departed from Palos de la Frontera with 3 ships. The largest was a carrack, the Santa Maria, owned and captained by Juan de la Cosa, and under Columbus's direct command. The other 2 were smaller caravels, the Pinta and the Niña, piloted by the Pinzon brothers. Columbus first sailed to the Canary Islands. There he restocked provisions and made repairs, then departed from San Sebastián de la Gomera on the 6th of September, for what turned out to be a 5-week voyage across the ocean.